So check it out. I want to send a shout out to Bear Forest Knives. Just sent this over to me for me to do a review of my YouTube channel, and just picked it up. This thing is super, super comfortable. Really, really simple, like the design says. This is 20 of 20 on the simple, and it's about a 4-inch blade with about a 4-inch handle. Some really, really nice machine down micarta, ripping spine, so you could definitely process tinder, strike a ferro rod, and it's actually in a full flat grind, which is 3/32 thick of high carbon steel. So I just pulled it out, just wanted to give a little intro. If you see where we're at, you can pan up. We're up in the High Sierra here, and we're just starting into the Desolation Wilderness right here. Bear Forest in its natural environment. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is use my little mallet here and try to cross-cut baton, cross-grain through this wood right here. This is an ultimate test of an edge and a knife strength. Most knives, many at least, will not survive these tests. And you will see what the heat treat and the steel are made of, especially on a thin knife that's 3/32 thin or thick. That's not very thick. So that means you're gonna have great slicing geometry, but you might not necessarily have much strength there. And only really, really, really good heat treatments will hold up to this. So we're gonna see what kind of damage this does to the edge here. I don't necessarily have to go all the way through it, but just getting some meat out there to the point where I can snap it is what I'm looking for here. Absolutely zero damage. That's really impressive. Absolutely holding up. So you can see, if you had no saw and you had to take down a standing dead tree for firewood when it was wet out, this is strong enough to cross grain baton. Let's see if that's got it far enough to where I can get a snap out of it. Perfect. Got this lodgepole tamarack pine, and what I wanted to do with it is fully debark it. Great test for any bushcraft knife. Just debark it, you know. And this is a live branch, so every last little piece. Boy, that edge is fine. Here comes a big wind. Okay, so we're getting some. This handle's great, tacky, grippy handle. Feel in my hand. And we are in some serious terrain out here. Slicing right through the knots and the thicker stuff. All that dead wood right there, that's some real hard stuff. Sapped over. And this is tamarack, aka lodgepole pine, from up at about 9,000 feet. So this is hard, wind and snow battered wood that different textures, because it was a dying live tree, you know. So parts of it were rock solid dead. A lot of it's green and fresh as I'm cutting, so that's easy and nice. And this thing slices like heck, dude. He put a great relief edge on that thing. You can see that deep relief edge. And I'm just gonna grind through this hard material here. My hand is not getting fatigued at all because it's a really full and simple grip. So now I'm getting into some stuff that could chip some knives. So I'm just gonna run it real hard into that solid, sappy little knot. You can hear it chipping and hitting it, but we'll see what it does to the edge. Okay, we got everything off. Absolutely no chipping at all. So that's great. But what I'm gonna do now is some push cuts to bevel the edge of this. That's something you would do when making some tent poles or some tent pegs, is just bevel the edge off with some push cuts. And we've made it all the way around it, edge beveled, so that's good. And what I want to try out is a little bit of drilling. So let's see if we can drop down here. And I'm just going to see if I were to drill straight into the center here, how the knife's going to act, right? This can chip out the tip if the knife and the heat treat aren't super strong. Wow, it is drilling really well. Just totally clearing out the material. That the way he made that point, you know, really taper there, is really easy entry into the wood. And as you get deeper, it spans out and starts to clear more of it. Again, the broomstick style handle, I don't have anything biting into my hand as I spin it, and that'll probably do it. Absolutely crushing it at drilling. That might be the best drilling knife I've ever used. A lot of the good drillers for bushcraft, they actually have a spear point that's wider, and they'll drill you a hole, but not so perfectly deep. And look at the taper. I am absolutely blown away by how well this knife just drilled. So bow drill set, anything like that, yes. And now we're going to do the dreaded batoning test straight through this gnarly twisted stuff. And this is a tough test for a thin, full flat ground knife. I'm kind of scared because it's all twisted down here and it's such hard, sappy, nasty stuff. But I'm just gonna go ahead and run it through it and see what this thing's really made of. The heat treatment's right. It may hold up. Oh, that is nasty batoning, people. You usually want to, if you got a baton, you want to choose straight grain. You really do. And I'm only doing this to just see what this thing's made of. Because again, this is a little thin, this is a thin, full, flat ground, light little knife, you know? You know it's going to do great crafting and slicing, but being able to do cross-grain batoning and that twisted of batoning, let me look down it. No wave whatsoever, no bend, no break, no chip. Wow. Yeah, I'm really surprised. This thing rips. So one of the last things I need to see is, will it carve down feather sticks that I can make a fire with? So that's what I'll do. And this isn't prime feather stick wood right here. This is so twisted. This is nasty stuff. So I'm putting it through some testing that is not, these are not ideal conditions, you know, for this knife. But what I'm seeing is, if I got stuck out here with this as my main tool, I didn't have a big survival knife, I didn't have a saw, I didn't have a hatchet, nothing like that. Could this thing hold up to literal survival knife, you know, chopper type of tasks? And so far it is, which that's not what it's designed for. It's not meant to be a heavy use knife. It's a nice little crafting, carving, you know, camp knife. But he's done such a crazy good job on the heat treat in this high carbon steel and that edge that, I mean, yeah, we're working with some nasty tamarack right here, pine. And it is just eating it up like no other. Almost bites like a Scandi in a way. It's got so much edge, you know, and it's just so easy for it to slide through. Again, I could do way nicer feathers if I was on some good straight grained, you know, cedar or ponderosa or something. But I'm just seeing what it'll do if we do not have ideal conditions across the board, right? And that's what we've been showing with it. It's non-ideal conditions across the board. And it's honestly been popping up, handling business. So let's see what it does on this ferro rod right here. Wow. Wow. Dude. Oh my God. I love this thing. Dude. What the heck? Is there anything this little thing can't do? I mean, I honestly would have thought you need a little more spine and to rip like this. You usually do. This is crazy, man. Big ups to Bear Forest. This thing rips, dude. Bear Forest Knives Simple. That's the simple model right there. This is 20 out of 20. And it is killer. And what I thought I'd do is show how it does on some good old food prep. Slicing through a mango here. Wow. That 3/32 inch thick, full flat ground. Absolute butter when it comes to food prep. I knew it was going to be, but that's the winning combo right there for food prep, meat prep, game, anything like that. When it comes down to that geometry just being so perfect right there to just slide through materials. Delicious.
Smells real good.
It's trying to get the bugs away too.
Yeah, good job.
All right, so one of the last things I wanted to check on is just that nylon rope. Sometimes you might need to cut some rope. and the Bear Force Simple is fit for the task. Absolutely rips through that cordage. You always want to start at the bottom of the blade so when you pull, you get the whole knife. I see a lot of people, they'll start their cut right here, and this thing will probably do it. Yep. But you don't get the amount of blades slicing in that much contact. So when we go into, say, doubling up, so we could double up now and have 2 ropes, rips right through it. And that is because this thing has an awesome edge, super sharp, and it's a thin geometry, full flat ground. And honestly, it's just flying through this man-made material, from cordage to boxes, anything I've attempted to cut with it, it has just flown through it really easily. And that didn't surprise me so much that it flew through all this kind of material. What did surprise me is how durable and strong it was outdoors, beating on it into logs, splitting stuff with it, cross grain batoning, and even just cutting into wood. A lot of the times thinner knives that are really good at slicing stuff like this aren't that durable, and that's the trade-off. But with this one, you didn't trade that. I mean, this thing is super durable. It's not a big chopper or machete or nothing, but it's absolutely fit to slice through any material, especially man-made cordage boxes, wood, food, meat, pretty much anything you could put in front of this. It will slice, and it also does really, really well on the ferro rod. So a lot of knives don't necessarily have a great spine for this, and it just does. So, I mean, I was drilling with it. The ergonomics, they look very simple, as the design says, and they are. And that means you don't have stuff you're running into, whether you have a big, XL hand like mine that still fits, or you have a smaller hand, like even my wife had used this knife and was like, oh, wow, this is nice. Like it kind of just is so non-prescriptive. It doesn't force your hands into any little grooves. It just is a big open, squared off, but rounded, rounded rectangular, pinned in, tubed in, really light handle, really light knife. And what I like it the best for, I realize, is a backpacking knife. When I'm counting every ounce, I'm going way out in the backcountry, I still want something capable that'll slice, do all my food prep, do all my woodwork, anything like that. But I don't want to carry a bigger, heavier knife. This thing, super light, an absolute killer of a little slicer bushcrafter. And yeah, that full flat grind, getting it done, high carbon steel. So, you're going to watch it. You're not going to put it away wet, make sure you oil it a little, and that patina comes on, and I actually love it. Super, super nice one. So, yeah.